Hey, Meteorologist Alex Williams here with you with another quick update. It's not necessarily good news because it does look like the ice amounts, or at least right now, are trending up. Now, hopefully they'll start to trend down as we get closer to the event. But we're still dealing with that weather impact alert day as we go into our basically Saturday evening, and that'll continue on through our Tuesday. We could see icy travel, power outages, Arctic chill, the whole 9 yards, right? Oh, let me go ahead and route the right source in here for you guys. There you go. So Saturday evening into Tuesday evening again, we're going to expect you to be stuck in place at your house for several days. You need to protect your pipes, your infrastructures, your house, and there's several really great resources on our website, Who Wants to Know, WFMY.com. Click on the Who Wants to Know section. Tanya Rivera's got you all, situated. You can check out all of her great advice there and some of the people and the professionals she's talked to on how we can winter prep our house, because that's going to be important in the days to come, I think, as we get closer to this storm. So let's check in on the storm. A lot of changes as far as the watches have now really become warnings. And that just makes sense because we're getting closer to the event. But do you see this purple color here? Let me get my little clicker tool, or my little pointer tool, I guess. Let's see, it's right here. So do you see this purple color? These are ice storm warnings, and you can see it actually encompasses a good portion all the way down towards almost Houston. So eastern Texas, northern Louisiana, up through the Arklatex into western Tennessee, and then, of course, the Carolinas, and even up into parts of the Cumberland Plateau of Tennessee, dealing with ice storm warnings. And the rest of us dealing with winter storm warnings. So if I pop this off, myself, of course, was what I was talking about. But if I pop that off, you can see the winter storm warnings are really for more Greenville, Spartanburg area, upstate South Carolina into southwest North Carolina, whereas you see the winter storm warnings extend across the foothills all the way through the Triad and really most of our viewing area. Now, there's a reason why that is. It's because we're going to see more than just freezing rain. If we were just going to see freezing rain, then yes, we are talking we would see an ice storm warning, not a winter storm warning. But we're going to see sleet, and quite a bit of it potentially, mixing in with maybe a little bit of snow early on, and then things will become icy as we go through the duration of this event. So let's time this out for you. What does this look like? So here's the timing. We're about 5 o'clock in the evening here on our Saturday, and really after about 3 o'clock, we could see that initial burst of snow. And I think the better chance of snow, of course, is going to remain along the North Carolina state line up into Virginia. And then you see the purple on there, that's sleet. That'll be taking over very soon. So if I just kind of step through this here, you can see that the Triad goes from snow very quickly over to sleet. And then we're going to stay sleet for a good portion of the evening. Overnight, you'll hear the tattering of sleet outside. If you go outside, it'll sound pretty loud. It'll almost sound like a heavy rain because you're raining ice pellets. Not to be confused with Dippin' Dots. Dippin' Dots are grapple, and while we maybe see a little bit of that, I think it's more going to be ice pellets, which are more translucent and don't necessarily look like Dippin' Dots and provide horrible traction on area roadways. So keep that in mind. Sleet, even though it's not as nasty as ice, still has its bite. We'll see impacts on the area roadways for sure as we go through this event, especially Saturday night into Sunday morning. So that's kind of the impacts you can expect Saturday night. If you're coming back into the Triad, the other thing is it's going to be cold. Temperatures are going to be in the 20s and teens for most of the day on our Saturday and into our Sunday and into our Monday, into our Tuesday. I mean, we're just not going to get above freezing until Wednesday at this point. So it's going to be a prolonged period. Now, the other question that we don't know that we're going to have to continue to just hone in details on, I think we do start to see freezing rain. Models are trending kind of a little earlier into our Sunday morning. Now, where you see it break up like this, normally for rain, that would be a good thing. But in this case, this means it's drizzle. And freezing drizzle is easier to attach onto anything that is below freezing and to start to grow and accumulate a little more rapidly than, say, freezing rain, which can hit an object and then run off of it. And so maybe you get like the dripping on it, but it doesn't accumulate as fast as a freezing drizzle, which it looks like we'll see periods of freezing drizzle. Temperature is still 20 degrees. Now, models go back and forth on this. Looking at some of the latest high-resolution models, some buy a little bit longer period of sleet, some don't buy that, and they transition us back to freezing rain pretty quickly, and we stay freezing rain throughout the day. Once we hit freezing rain, we're not going back to sleet, I don't think, because I don't see the cold air building back in deep enough to get sleet to come back. This is concerning here, though, as we look towards Sunday evening. We are at least looking at the potential there of seeing more freezing rain, and that would then accumulate decently quick, especially if we initially start to accumulate some of that freezing drizzle. Then when we get the freezing rain on top of that, periods of that, especially if it's light, it's just going to accumulate on everything and glaze on everything. And this is why it could be significant impacts. This I don't buy. I do not buy us warming up to freezing Monday morning at midnight. I don't think it's going to happen. I think the wedge is going to stay around longer. At least in my experience, that's how it's been. I've been bit too many times by models trying to erode the cold air too fast, especially when it's locked in place. So what's going to fall? Mixed bag of precip for the triad. Really lots of sleet, some snow, maybe, and then ice. It's really going to be an ice storm, I think, at this point. Snow, some sleet up towards the foothills to our northwest, and then you can see really from Greensboro areas southward, we might even start shifting that a little further north, updating this graphic, but Davidson County, Randolph County, and then down to Montgomery County, parts of Alamance County, it could be a major ice threat with significant ice accumulation of quarter inch or more. Unfortunately, it was trending in the direction of more than less, which is not good news. Snow and sleet forecast, this is what it's looking at, about 2 to 4 inches of mainly sleet, maybe a little bit of snow mixed in there. I think it's going to be mainly sleet. And then you can see that 1 to 2 there from, say, southern Guilford, southern Alamance, over towards Davidson-Davie County, and then into northern portions of Randolph County. And then further to the south, Montgomery County, just really not getting much of anything. Freezing rain, again, that risk, I think, has gone up. This just really doesn't look like a good scenario, and I can't stress it enough. Sunday is going to be just dangerous to be out on the roads, to be outside in general, because even if you're not on the roads, if you're outside, tree limbs can fall down thanks to the increasing weight of the ice that's building on them. You don't want to be outside on that. You don't want to be sitting in cars around any of those trees. Power lines could start to fall as well, and so infrastructure will be impacted. Power outages, widespread expected. So unfortunately, that is not good news, but that is what we're looking like we're going to deal with now. Hopefully, over time, we start to see the trend go back further to the south. But I do think at least southern portions of our viewing area, Randolph County, Davidson County, and also down to Montgomery County, watch out, because this could be a significant ice storm for you. Now, for the rest of us in the tribe, we're going to have to watch and see how the cold and warm air battle it out and settle things. I still think if we get a quarter inch of ice versus a half inch of ice, that really doesn't make a difference. It's going to be horrible conditions as we go Sunday night into Monday morning. That commute is going to be downright dangerous. It's going to be a skating rink. And you can only do so much trying to melt some of that ice. And NDOT, North Carolina Department of Transportation, they're going to do a great job. They're going to get the roads prepared as best they can. But we also need to be prepared to just stay home off the roads completely as we go through our Sunday. And then as we're going to Monday, give yourself, give your neighbors, give everybody grace, because we're all going to be trying to get to work on very bad conditions, very bad roads, potentially. So we need to just give ourselves grace and to give each other grace in this storm. Our own Chad Silver said that, and I really like that a lot. So freezing rain impacts. Here's what we're talking. 1/10 of an inch will cause things to become slippery. You could get isolated power outages. We get up to 1/4 inch, which is probably likely at this point for a good portion of our triad. Icy roads, tree limbs sag and start to break. You start to get numerous power outages. Not to mention, if you get anything more than that, up to about half an inch, you're talking dangerous travel on roads, widespread tree damages, long-term power outages, and that's going to be possible for the southern portions of our triad south to Charlotte. I think Charlotte could see some really high impacts from this. I know Brad Panovich has been talking about it a lot. So if you don't follow him and you're in the Charlotte area, you can look at him. Here in the Triad, we've got you covered, of course. So it's going to start as snow a little briefly and then switch to sleet pretty quickly. And that's going to be overnight Sunday, really overnight Saturday into Sunday morning. At some point, we'll take over with the freezing rain. It's going to take a while for that to start to grow and accrete on surfaces. So we'll see power outages start to become more widespread, I think, as we go towards Sunday late afternoon into the evening, into Monday morning, and then really into Monday and potentially for days after that once you lose power, because crews are going to be spread out across the entire state because most of the state is dealing with this. So that's the big takeaways, I think, as far as what we're going to be dealing with. There's our 7-day forecast. You can see we're going to see that transition take place again Saturday night into Sunday, starting to get nasty, really nasty on Sunday, especially with the freezing rain. And then as we go into Monday and Tuesday, it's just going to be so cold, we're just not going to see much in the way of melting. So roads really won't improve all that much. Tuesday morning lows could be in the single digits, and it could feel even colder than that, below zero. That's definitely a possibility. So that's what you need to keep in mind as far as, we don't need two of me on there. That's what you need to keep in mind as we go through this weekend, as we go through next week. Again, give each other grace, give yourself grace. We'll get through it together, and we're going to continue to keep you updated until then.